Well, to be very honest and frank, I started back in 2007. 2009 was the official year I started officially. And before that, if you remember, I think you were too little to remember that, 2007 was the Orkut year. So during those time, Orkut was the hype. Along with that, MySpace was there. Facebook was not that popular, among the Indians. So if I count back those days, it was year 2007. It was Orkut year, and many of my friends. I was doing my MBA during that time. So many of my friends, they were having thousands of scraps. I mean, all those messages that we, exchange in between the friends.
So, hello audience, welcome to another episode of podcast series of Humans of Mitikera. Today we have with us Syed Mohsin Raja. Sir is the first digital marketer for Northeast India. He started in 2009. He is the LinkedIn local Guwahati host. He is the startup mentor for digital marketing in IIE, Institution of Entrepreneurship, Lalmati, Guwahati, and a guest faculty for digital media and universities and institutions. Sir, on behalf of Metikaram, I welcome you.
Yep, thank you so much.
Okay. So my first starting question will be how you started with digital marketing back in 2009 and how this field has developed with time.
Well, to be very honest and frank, I started back in 2007. 2009 was the official year I started officially. And before that, if you remember, I think you were too little to remember that, 2007 was the Orkut year. So during those time, Orkut was the hype. Along with that, MySpace was there. Facebook was not that popular, among the Indians. So if I count back those days, it was year 2007. It was Orkut year, and many of my friends. I was doing my MBA during that time. So many of my friends, they were having thousands of scraps. I mean, all those messages that we, exchange in between the friends. That is called a scrap on Orkut. So my friends used to have lots of scraps, but I didn't. And that thing intrigued me to, to look into this thing like, what am I lacking? And where am I lagging behind? So I just looked into this thing and I found that, there are so many things to do with Orkut. And uh, that was the first moment I realized that, there are so many things, I mean, from the marketing perspective that can be done on social media. So as a digital marketer, I started with social media marketing, and Orkut was my, the first platform that I utilized. Then by 2008, crying to the fall prey of, my friends having scraps on Orkut and me having nothing. So I decided to explore the new avenues, and I went into MySpace. I tried Facebook. Facebook used to be like a blue screen, and you have to give up your. I mean, you have to put your own name, surname, all this thing, then your date of birth, all these things. But at the time, it was very peculiar. It was a new kind of platform. Were not using it much. People didn't realize that Facebook could be, this big. So I went into Facebook and I tried to have an account, and I saw the ads, like how these ads are working. That's the thing came to my mind. So along with social media marketing, utilizing the platform itself, and there are other platforms as well, Twitter and Dig. This kind of platforms are there. So I tried to utilize those platforms for, I just tried to have a look like how they are operating, how companies are working on those platforms. So gradually I got the idea, and I tried my own hand, like, what can I do with these things? And when I tried with Facebook advertising, I still remember I tried to have it with the, credit card of one of my friends, but even he didn't have a credit card. So he went to his mom and he helped me with his mom's credit card. So that's how I started with Facebook advertising. So there's two other things I started my career with. First is social media marketing on these platforms. Like during those days, linking back with, HTML kind of thing were possible on Orkut. Later, Facebook also introduced this kind of things, but Facebook is always been evolving. So those are the things I started with: social media marketing and Facebook advertising. By the year 2008, I joined a company called indiastat.com, and I tried my hand on email marketing. There is a misconception among many people in India that, we people in northeastern part speak very good English. And I don't know how much do I speak, but that is the belief, the common belief, the kind of myth among people in the central India. And they believe that people from northeastern part can handle English very well. And because of that, I was given the role of handling all the international clients, like all those people from the United States, from Europe, from Japan, all these people. And I used to talk to them over phone, and then I had to handle the mail. And I was fortunate enough to handle the mail, and that's how I came to know about email marketing. Year was 2008. Then by 2009, I thought that, this is not the thing. I should do something of my own. But doing business, starting a startup, and setting up something my own, that was never my cup of tea. So I thought, what can be my cup of tea, and where can I venture into? So I thought of consulting. It was the end of 2009. I thought that I should go back to my homeland, and all the knowledge I have, all this experience I've gathered for 2 years, I should do something. I came back to Assam, and I tried with article marketing. And now it has evolved. Now it is being known as content marketing or copyright marketing kind of thing. Earlier it was article marketing. There were so many platforms like EaseIn, and there are so many platforms like this. And we used to use those platforms and utilize the link back from the SEO perspective. So this is how I started while I came back from Delhi to Assam. And there was a time like I didn't even have a single penny from 2009 to the mid of 2010. I was like totally empty-handed because I was very new to the field. I just had only 2 or 3 years of experience. Then market was evolving, and then getting a client is the toughest part. Even today, it is one of the toughest part. So that's how I struggled. Fortunately, I met one of my clients through one of a referral from the company IndiaStat, where I used to handle the international clients. He referred me to someone else in Norway, and I started with social media marketing for them. This guy is still my friend on Facebook, and I say he's on LinkedIn as well. So he was my first ever international client, and his name is Magnus Haga. So that's how I started, and I learned so many things with them. I deployed all the techniques I learned, and I started earning. And that's where the motivation came from, because money is the biggest motivator, whether you agree or not. So money poured in. I concentrated on my work, and from 2010 it's to 2020. It's been 10 years. Starting officially, I started officially in 2009. Then having my first client back in 2010. So that's how I started, and it's so good so far. Clients are good. I work on a referral kind of thing. I never compete with, there is no competition in this role. That's what I believe. All you can do is collaborate, and collaborate. That's how we can grow. And I apply this thing to my field as well. And many people call me mad, but that doesn't bother me much, because I know collaboration is the way.
Yeah, because I believe that at the end of the day, when you go to bed, you should be satisfied with whatever you did in the day. So it doesn't matter whether you are happy with competition or without competition. It's matter that how satisfied you are. So,
Exactly.
sir, as you say that there were so many different types of marketing that you got to work with. What are the challenges that you faced, and how you overcome that? Because every time trying on different type of marketing, you went through a bit of challenge, I guess, and how you handled and how you changed them into opportunities.
Well, let me categorize this answer into 3 groups. The first one, I would like to talk from the individual perspective. Second, from the professional perspective. Third, from the technical perspective. Individual perspective, you could say the personal perspective. Even today, it's 2020. It's very hard to make my parents understand what do I do. To be very honest, they don't understand what do I do. But thankfully, thank God that I am a guest faculty for a few of the institutions. That's what they can proudly say, that my son is, working as a guest faculty for this institution. That's what they say. But when it comes to digital marketing, if somebody asks, my nephews, there are so many people even my cousins. If they ask my parents are like blank. They can't answer a single line. Like, what is digital marketing? They don't know. Even my parents don't know, how to use the computers, because my father is a retired person, and it was made compulsory for them back in 2010, I guess, and they couldn't learn it properly. Even today, whenever he has to do something, he asks my little brother to do it for him. That's how it works. And that's why they cannot explain what is digital marketing. That is the personal experience, personal kind of challenge I face. Whenever I go, even today, there are so many people, whenever I answer that I'm a digital marketer, they don't understand. They ask me, what do I do? Then I have to elaborate that. Have you ever seen this kind of ad on Facebook? Do you notice that there are so many ads? If you look on something like, if you're looking for a product on Myntra or on Nykaa or on Amazon, they appear on your feed on Facebook, right? They say, yes, 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 they do. Even sometimes we get emails. And I say, yes, that is the kind of thing a digital marketer does. That is the kind of thing done through remarketing. So that's how I make them understand. But it's really hard to make them understand, because we are living in a country where traditional kind of things are given more importance than digital sort of things. But this pandemic has taught us a lot. People are going online, and thankfully they are learning a lot. Now coming back to the professional part, when I started back in 2007, when I tried to get clients, I tried to work with a few Indian clients. People are not getting the point. Like, what will be the benefit? Why should I be on Orkut? Why should I be on MySpace? They were asking questions like this. And even I didn't have a better answer at the time. I was not experienced. I didn't know how to handle them. By the time passed, by 2009, 2010, I got clients. And then I came to know, how to handle these things. Like many of the people who have this question, like, why should I use digital marketing? The basic answer to this kind of question is that, you cannot neglect the part of being online. Just for example, 2020 is the biggest example where you cannot think of denying the existence of digital marketing or even going digital. So that is the professional kind of challenges I faced. And along with that, there are other challenges from the professional perspective, and it is about the fees. It is about the service fees. When I work with any foreign client, let's say US market or European market or even a Shenzhen market, these people pay very decently. They don't even negotiate. But as you know, India is the place for negotiation on everything. So that's how it works in India. And this is one of the biggest hurdles for most of the digital marketers, because people think that it's so easy to do. It's just to post on Facebook, just to post on Instagram, but they don't realize that there are so many things behind that. Because just posting a Facebook post doesn't mean that it will get you something. It requires some kind of strategy. It requires some kind of planning. Even the call we are having, even this, the session we are having, it is being well planned. That's why it is going like this. It is being, it is live on YouTube right now. So people don't understand this kind of thing. And many of the time people think that, they're just doing a favor by hiring a digital marketer, but that is not the scenario. Whereas if I compare them to the foreign clients, they know that what is the importance and how hard this work is, how, what kind of mental pressure it bears upon the users, the worker. So they really value the time and all the effort that you put. So that is the professional part. Now coming to the technical part. The biggest technical problem in India is the network issue. We are all using 4G. To be very honest, it is the 3G we are using in the name of 4G. Whenever I talk to my clients, they ask me, what is your broadband speed? When I say that it is just 200 Mbps or, sometimes 80 to 100 Mbps, they laugh at me. They say, our basic broadband speed is 800 Mbps to 1 Gbps. That is their basic speed. So they laugh at me. So this is one of the biggest problem. And you can just imagine the year 2010, 9, 8, these 3 years, we were at the 2G level. So what would have happened to a guy like me who was just starting, and I didn't even have a good, decent kind of connection. I was relying on my mobile, and it's really a big problem even today. Many of the people who start with their mobile phones, like a Wi-Fi hotspot, it doesn't work well. And then if I talk about the connectivity errors and all this thing, how it works in India. If there comes a rain and network and electricity, both are gone. So that's the situation. And again, another technical part from the platform perspective is that, they are evolving every day. So the biggest challenge is you have to cope up with, you have to work with all those changes. You have to make yourself updated with all the changes that is coming through. Otherwise, you will miss a lot. If I talk about Facebook, probably you have noticed yourself that, there are so many changes in all these years. And that's how Facebook works. Even on the Facebook advertisement platform, they're doing the same thing. Every day, they're making new changes. And at the same time, they have to comply with the government rules as well. Though government rules change very less, I mean, they don't change very often. Yet, whenever there's a change, all these platforms comply with them. And because of that, you have to keep yourself updated. If I talk about the latest kind of thing, like Facebook has introduced the GST deduction. So you have to think about all those things. These are the technical issues, uh, related to the platforms. And it is just like same for all of the platforms, whether it is LinkedIn, whether it is Twitter. If you're talking about advertising, then it relates it the same way. And then other platforms, like if we're doing about social media marketing, if you're talking about post and all these things, you have to be careful about how you can post them, how they're going to reach people, all these things, all the technical issues. So these three were the points I wanted to talk about when I talk about my challenges.
Okay, so these are some of the basic challenges that I think most of the people are still facing nowadays, because the way the thing you mentioned, Wi-Fi hotspots and those things, the net in connection speed and everything, people are still facing that problem. So how that will be like going on, and we have to cope up with that and learn through that, like you learned from 2009 till 2020. So sir, tell us how digital marketing in Northeast India, only in the Northeast India, is different from the central part of the India, and how it has developed since the years.
One thing I must mention that, uh, there is a slope kind of thing, when it comes to everything that comes from the West. By West, I mean the United States. Wherever there is a trend, if it starts in the American, continent, then it comes to the Middle East, then it comes to India, then it comes to Assam, or northeastern part. That is happening. Even if I talk about the user base, you can have a look. Earlier Facebook was being very popular among the the central Indian part. Then gradually, people in the northeastern, continent, they also welcome this Facebook, and they now situation is that everyone is on Facebook. You can just find it. Search for any name, and you will find thousands of profiles for that name. So that is the situation. So if I talk about how it is different from the central part of India, or how it is different from other parts of India, I'd like to mention the biggest factor is that the user base. In entire India, there are 33 crore Facebook users. Facebook is just an example, so that everyone can relate what is social media or what is digital media. That's why I'm just giving the example of Facebook. There are 33 crore user base, Indian user base for Facebook. And then if I talk about Assam, there are 8.2 crore people who are using Facebook. And if I talk about an entire Northeast, then it crosses more than 14 crore. So that is the figure. So you can just imagine how big the user base is. And if I talk about the trends, and if I talk about all the new fashion and all this thing, whenever there is a new thing, it always trends among the central part of India, then it gradually comes to Northeast. And if I talk about digital marketing, the same trend was happening. When I started in 2009, I saw very less of people, even in central India. There are not many people who are doing digital marketing, very few. But nowadays, it's like anything. Wherever you just throw a stone and it will fall on a, digital marketer. That is the scenario. And the same thing applies to Assam by 2020. And this is just because of the, like increased uses of internet and the acceptance of technology. So that's how it is growing here in northeastern part. But differences are there. If I talk about people in, say, if we compare with people in Delhi and people in Guwahati, then you will notice one big difference, and that is the difference of doing business through digital. If somebody is doing digital marketing, the market base is very less for northeastern continent. So you can just think the rest, like what will be the business for a guy sitting in Delhi. He can handle anything, like in the entire India. But if somebody is working from northeastern context, the first question customers ask is like, the clients ask is, can you handle it from Assam? Can you handle it from your place in Tripura or Meghalaya? Can you do that? So there's a trust factor as well.
Okay, so as you said that there are the digital marketing thing is just increasing, and you throw a stone and it lands on digital marketer. So on that note, I would like to ask you, if someone wants to, someone, because as you said, it is increasing, and if someone wants to start digital marketing, how they should start, like what should be the initial steps to do so?
The first thing I'd like to ask any of the aspirants to, clear the basics, get the knowledge of the basics. Without doing, the the simple arithmetic, you cannot go for the higher kind of things. So that applies to digital marketing as well. Just try to clear the base, like all those things, like how the clicks work, what is a clickbait, all this kind of things, and then even starting with how a copywriting works, because content is the king for digital marketing, and context is the queen. So you have to be very aware of those kind of things, like what is your writing kind of thing and how you're going to develop that. Then comes the different parts of digital marketing. Digital marketing itself is an umbrella term used for different services, and it includes advertising, SEO, search engine optimization, social media marketing, email marketing, affiliate marketing, all these kind of things. Now you have to decide on which part you're going to concentrate. Like for me, I have been concentrating on social media marketing and digital advertising. So that's my big core area. If I talk about SEO, I'm not that much, good at SEO. I can handle a basic project, but if it is advanced level project, I cannot handle that at ease. So this is my advice to all of the people, all of the aspirant digital marketers who want to be good in their field, to categorize, like, to think about the particular field where they want to concentrate, because this is the age of being an expert. If you're jack of all and master of none, it's not gonna do good for you. So just be aware of that and concentrate on one particular thing, then gradually go for the rest.
Okay, so sir, what will you suggest? Because many people are very confused regarding the fees and how to decide how much to take and how to negotiate initially. So there is a weirdness or there is a nervousness every time when someone starts. So what will you suggest or what will you advise for that?
Okay, negotiation by what do you mean? It is about, are you talking about the client base, like negotiating with the
Yes.
client?
Yes,
Okay.
like when you, if you're working for a client, then you demand a fee, then how to decide how much to demand, and if someone is saying no, this much, that much, then how will you negotiate?
Yeah, the thing is easy. Like, you have to decide your part, like at what part you're going to work. What is your rate? Like, if you're going to charge, how much you're going to charge per hour, and what will be your, monthly retainer kind of thing. You have to decide on that. And then again, you have to decide project wise. So make a list of all these things. Like if you're doing some Facebook ad, then how many campaigns can you provide for, say, certain amount of money? And then just think about what kind of time you're going to dedicate for that particular project. And depending on those two factors, you can decide on what kind of amount you're going to charge from your client. And believe me, many of the clients, they look into your hard work. They just feel that you're doing the work, and they definitely pay. And in my life, in my professional life, I always believe that working is the first thing. Money comes automatically, it flows. If you do a good job, money will flow.
Okay, so sir, in Northeast, you say there is a huge difference between the user base and everything. So, to understand this, you have to do a lot of research and you have to study how the pattern has been going on. So, what do you feel? What is the biggest mistake the millennials do when they are just going like, yeah, I will do digital marketing, and then they start and they do some mistake because जोश में start करते हैं, फिर it goes somewhere down and someone's up. So what is the
Bilkul.
biggest mistake that you have observed?
Biggest mistake of 2020 is, it is good to have so many certifications, but it is not that good to have them without any proper knowledge. Because if I talk about Udemy, if I talk about Coursera, I'm not blaming them, or I'm not blaming any certificate provider, but it is always up to the user how he utilizes the knowledge, because they are there to provide the knowledge. But for many of us, many of Indian people, what happens, like, we just skip all those things and we just go to the ending just to get the certificate. It shouldn't happen. You should get proper knowledge. You should acquire proper knowledge for every certificate that you collect. Without getting real knowledge, collecting those certificates will do no good for you.
Okay, yes, that's true. Like you should know the practical knowledge also. So what do you feel like, how is the competition in the market with the digital marketers?
Yeah. Could you please repeat? Your voice is broken. broken.
Uh,
Like
so,
they were the same
uh,
kind of thing.
with so many digital marketers coming nowadays, how is the competition increasing, and what is the scenario?
Yeah, competition is like anything. Like people are competing. I can see them competing, and there are companies in I can see in Northeast. They're looking for digital marketers. They're looking for SEO. They're looking for email marketers. But at the same time, they don't want to pay. I don't want to name anyone, but I have worked with many of the brands in Northeast, many of the big companies here in Northeast as a consultant. But many of them are very reluctant to pay the amount that a digital marketer desires, because a guy is just working decently and he deserves a decent pay. But if somebody cuts it down, it doesn't gonna it will not help the company as well, because in the long run it is your name, it is the company's name that is gonna be tossed in the air. And if I talk about the competition among the digital marketers, it is becoming tough. Every single day there are digital marketers, they're just growing like anything. But I think, as I said earlier, collaboration is the way. With competition, you cannot do anything. Recently, there was a big brand from FMCG here in Guwahati. They were about to launch, but because of lockdown, they couldn't launch, and they're going to launch very soon. Actually, they're a restaurant chain. They're coming to Guwahati, and it's an international brand. So for that brand, I went to them for a presentation. I gave them the presentation. Then I realized that they're not gonna convert. I realized that thing during our conversation, because their requirements were like, they wanted something more than we had, because we are already. I mean, if I talk about me and my firm, we are into digital marketing. We don't deal with the offline marketing kind of thing directly. So that was their requirement. So what I did, I just passed on the ball to someone else I already knew. I have a very good friend. Her name is Deepika. So I passed on the ball to her, and I referred her name to that company. And I don't know what happened after that, but that should be the way. That should be the work of collaboration. Like if you're talking about competition, if you're just competing with someone who is already into your field, then you're just losing all the possible collaborations and all the possible future together. Even same thing happened to one of my friend Lalit. He is into Nextop. I'm just mentioning his name. He's doing very great in this field. He has a institution named Nextop, and he called me up. He's and like we spoke for about 1 hour, and he we realized that this collaboration is the way out. So I think this applies to all the digital marketers. If you are in the field, if you are trying to get a good grip, collaborate. Do not compete. If you're competing, then just compete from your own perspective, with yourself. Compete with your own self. Like how good you are from the last say 1 week, say 1 month, 1 year. How good you are from that your previous version. That should be the competition. Competition should be with your own self, with your own knowledge base. It shouldn't be with your other digital marketers.
Okay, so sir, how was your take in this pandemic, and how digital marketing sector boomed in this pandemic? Because we see that
uh,
everyone was talking about digital marketing as everything went online.
exactly. Like before the before we went into this pandemic, I was planning to have few of my offline meeting with my clients in Middle East. So I was about to travel to the Middle East, but what happened, me and my friend, and she's an employee in a bank. So she was about to shift to Dubai. So we decided that we will go together, and we will she will go for her own kind of work, and I will look for my, I'll talk to my clients, and I will go for all the meetings. Then the pandemic came in, and three or four clients, they just say that they're not gonna use digital marketing as of now. So for 2 months, the business was down. The same thing applied to my other businesses. Generally, what I do my business, I generate my business through reference, and that is the biggest way, the best way to generate any kind of business. If somebody is referring you for a particular kind of service that you provide, then definitely you're going to thrive on that thing. That's what I believe. So coming back to the point, so during this pandemic, many of the clients, they said no. Even our own plans were being flopped. But gradually, after say by the month of May, the requirements were huge, because many of the markets were already open, and US, it was never shut down like us. They never had a proper lockdown, entire lockdown like us. So many of my clients were like, they were jumping into this bandwagon, and they were looking for digital marketing. They needed, in huge amounts. So my business was good May and June onward, And now it's like I have to be very picky on the term. I am working with only 5 clients as of now. I'm just cutting down all the rest of the clients because I cannot manage more than that. And many of my people, many of my friends, many of my colleagues from LinkedIn Local Guwahati are also helping me with that. You already know them, I guess. So that's how I'm working, and that's how pandemic is being turning like a great thing for me. But if we talk about the entire Indian context, not just about digital marketing, for all the jobs, all the sectors, I mean, they're just going down. So what I advise for many of the digital aspirant digital marketers to look for the ways to help others. That'll be a beneficial way for others, as you are already doing in MKR, like helping people who are in need. That can be done digitally. So do that. If you're digital marketing, your responsibility doesn't just lie with earning for yourself. You should do something for the society. You should give something back to the society. And as a digital marketer, you have the power. You should do that. That's what I have to say.
Okay, so sir, how was your journey so far? Like from 2007 to 2020, how has been your journey?
2007 to 2020, this journey is like always like been a bumpy. There were roadblocks, there were challenges, there were like people who didn't even accept my knowledge, and there were people who never, I mean, they just underestimate my services, my understand my knowledge. So that's how this entire journey has been. And like so the work factor, if you do good, I mean, if you do justice to your service, then definitely money will flow. That's what I have learned, and I am thankful that I'm doing digital marketing. I chose this field, and I can see that many of my friends are losing their jobs. Many of my friends are desperate about having a new job because they've been followed from their own job. I mean, the job they were doing. So I really am thankful that I chose this platform. I chose this niche. I chose this digital marketing. So that's how life has been.
Okay, and so my last question to you. If you have a superpower and you want to do something amazing in digital marketing, what will you do?
Well, I would like to own Facebook if possible.
Oh,
Superpower, whatever I can do. Like, if from a practical perspective, if I have a superpower, my first motive would be to uh, to do good something. But like, if I talk about any digital marketing platform, why they are there, you have to think about that. If I talk about the social media platforms, why they are there? They are there for the people. So they have to be responsible for at many points. And I will make sure that all these platforms, they just comply with the laws and regulations. They comply with the human lives. They comply with the humanity. That's what I will do if I have a superpower. Then if I talk about the earning and all this thing, earning will, money will come and go. You never can get a good grip on money. It is just like the dust.
okay. So that was my last question to you, sir. And thank you for joining with us today. And that's all for today. We'll come back soon and stay tuned to the page of Humans of Mitikaran. Thank you so much, sir. Stay safe.
Thank you, Diksha. Thank you, MKR.
Thank you, sir.